What is up, guys? Pittsburgh White Schwartz back again. So we had a request for an Apocrypha deck tech, so we're going to do a blue-red Astolfo Clarent build, which is played by one of our local players, Paul, who is here with us today. And Andy's here with us too, so let's get into it.
And Tiana.
Tiana's here. I didn't know if she wanted to be included or not. I didn't know if she was joking with me. So, all right, we're going to start with our zeros. Apocrypha has like its whole gimmick with flipping cards and level, so a lot of our utility zeros are going to be based around that. But starting off with something super simple, this is Astolfo Free Runner. This is pretty much your main beater at 0. Free runners are always going to be good. He is a cutie. Helps you just sort of plus on board, gets you through your level 0. Since you don't have a lot of big beaters at 0, you're sort of biding your time because you kind of want to get to level 1 first, since Astolfo's kind of small, so you can get your reverses. So we will put these down here as we move along. Moving on, 4 Brainstormers. So this is our Brainstormer's choice. It is self-tap salvage, and then it gives our middle slot 500 power, correct? And it also has hexproof, so your opponent can't bomb it.
Can't bomb it.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Just another thing against, cards that hate on your back, or decks that hate on your back row, although there aren't that many in English. It's still a pretty good secondary effect for a Brainstormer to have. And 500 power is pretty relevant, especially with Astolfo.
Especially with the runner.
All right, so our first level swap utility card is the Jean. You rest it, and it flips a card in your level. 100% necessary. You have to run this card. You have to see this card. After you get 1 down, it's basically dead. But sometimes you gotta play 2 Brainstormers. You get pretty compressed, so get that down there. And then it also gives Global 5. So pretty good in terms of a card that you have to run, right?
You have to.
Yeah, you can't get around running it. Other card we have here is this On Death Akatsuki. So that's on death, pitch a card, look it up to the top 4, take 1 character. Really good way to mill your deck. Since you aren't running a lot of beaters, you have chances to get reverses against things. So if you need to mill your deck, you find you're out, you can, or you're clogged with climaxes in hand, you can really get through the rest of your deck with this. I've seen Paul do some pretty disgusting stuff with this. On death Akatskis are definitely underrated. They're not as good as on play, but still a great card profile. Next card we have is 2 of this Drop Searcher. Just helps give you deck access, especially since your Ricky, which we'll get into right now, is salvage. We're only running 2 of the Ricky just because we have to dedicate cards to level flipping and getting deck access and stuff like that. But depending on what you want, these are the main zeros that you're looking to run if you want to mess with ratios or anything like that. This also, what is it? Is it Scry or Surveil on play? Surveil. So you look at the top card and you leave it there, put it in your waiting room. Really good effect to have on a Ricky. Confirm what is going to go into your clock. If you're trying to fish for a color, something like that, if you're in a bad spot, or if you make sure you won't Ricky a climax if you're Rickying at level 1, since you have a better chance of going into your next deck at level 1, so you don't really want to put a climax in clock. So it just helps avoid that, and it's a salvage Ricky, so it's from your waiting room. So
it's 18 level zeros.
Yep. Any other comments on zero game, Paul? Or
that's pretty much it. I mean, you basically you're digging for your Astolfo that 1.
Yeah, because you're really trying to get to 1 first. So little Astolfo can help open up lanes so your opponent swings at you harder, so you have a chance to leave targets and get reverses with your Astolfo at 1. Yeah, trying to do. Which is the main problem that Apocrypha runs into with the Astolfo build is you really need to get reverses, and he's kind of small, as we'll get into.
You're only 6.
So all right, here we have Knockoff Aaron, also known as Astolfo. So this is a 5K. When you play the book, he gets on reverse. Look at the top card. If it is Master of Servant, add it to your hand. And then on your opponent's turn, when your opponent front attacks this, you pop this to your hand. So it's like Fate to Bear in that sense. And it just like Fate to Bear, there's an early play that goes with this. So, like we said at 0, you're really trying to get reverses with this early on your opponent's zeros, since that's the most consistent thing you can do. So it's just something to keep in mind. But it is a really good advantage combo.
Do you have to reverse to get the pop back?
You do.
Yes.
You have to reverse.
You have to reverse to get the plus too.
Okay.
So, or the chance to plus. Next card we run is this Archer of Black. So this card is crazy. You flip a card in your level face down, pitch a card, and you get to salvage Master or Servant. So effectively, that's a costless drop salvage. Helps filter your hand because you have the Jean on board. So like this is like one of the main draws I think to Apocrypha is you get like basically free drop salvage filter. You're filling your waiting room with brainstorms and stuff like that. You're like you have a lot of grave access and you just get to grab for free.
You do grab whatever you want from that damn waiting room.
This also lets you set up single Clarent finishers to do more damage. So it helps you modulate your damage because part of the cost to the Clarent finisher is to flip a card face down. So and the damage it deals is based on the number of cards you have face down. So if you're only going to be able to play one, this is a costless way to flip an additional card over to get more damage. So just another reason why the card is super good. We're also playing 3 of this. What is this?
Cost 0.
Yeah, this. What's her name again?
Cost 0 bomb.
Yeah, this cost bomb. She also scries on play. So, what's her name again?
That's her name, cost bomb.
That's it. Assassin. I tried to scrub all knowledge of this character from my head. Oh, this is Jack. Yeah,
it's Jack.
I try not to think about this character existing. But yeah, just a great way to just bomb out like big walls. It unfortunately doesn't work against stuff like Silica and that because it's only cost bombs. But like the scry is really good in this deck as well. So.
It also forces your opponent to play around. Like if they're running anything that's cost 0, they have to play around that.
And it bottom decks it too.
So Aaron is not going to want to run it against it.
Yeah.
They're losing those key level 1s.
And I think that's it for level 1s. That's our level 1 lineup. All right, let's get this out of here. Moving to level 2s. We run 2 of this Archer of Black assist. So it is a level assist in front, and then it has an act, pay 1, rest this card, neg 2k anywhere on your opponent's board. That's a pretty underrated effect. In practice, what I've seen, it helps you pay out climaxes and like get like small nominal advantage on your opponent. But like minus 2k to a back row, if you don't have anything else better to do and you need to pay out on a climax, you can just destroy your opponent's Brainstormer. There's not many Brainstorms that are over 2k power.
Actually, it's only to their center stage.
Is it their center stage?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so it doesn't work for back row. Yeah, I guess that, but it's the whole center stage? No, choose a character. Okay, yeah. Revealing that this is not my deck.
I mean, that's still good, though.
It's still a good effect.
It gets you over stuff.
We are also running 2 of this anti-change backup. It is a heavily costed anti-change at pay 2, pitch a card over the cost of the backup. But anti-change is way too important, and you have to see it. And you're running a big wall yourself, so a 2,500 backup is pretty good. Speaking of that wall, let's talk about the early play. So this Astolfo early play is early playable when you have the level 1 Astolfo in your clock, and this card pops back to hand when your opponent's fronted if you got the combo off. So it sort of has its own synergy there, sort of like the Mikasa from AOT that plays at the same thing. It also, at the beginning of your opponent's drop phase, gives anything on your board 4k. So if you give it to himself, it's a 14k wall at level 2, which is like really, really good. And then you have these that you're like sort of playing half as a backup, half as an anti-change, because 2,500 power is pretty good. Or you can give it somewhere else and save one of your other characters. So just a really solid early play. And I'll get these level 2s out of here. Moving on to Jack. So on play, draw 2, ditch 1. Your opponent can't play backups. And then on attack, pitch 2 cards, ping 1. Heavily costed, but this digs for your gate because you don't have any other way to get it. This card would unironically be amazing if it had some sort of early play condition. When I see this card and I read this card, I always think it has early play, but it doesn't. But it's still...
It's a necessary evil.
Yeah, it's still really good at getting you into your gate and helping you ping for smaller amounts of damage if you have to, because Clarent is like pay 2, pitch 1, which is like pretty heavy for just pinging 1 if that's all you want to do. So this helps you like ping 1 for less of a cost per se.
No, it's just pay 2 flip though.
Pay 2 flip? Yep. Okay. All right. So that's still cheaper. And getting into Clarent, so on play heal, one of the best parts about the card. And then pay 2, flip a card in your level face down, burn for the amount of cards you have face down, and gain 3,500 power until the end of your opponent's turn. So this walls up at 13 if you do the combo, and heals by itself. So it's like, I'm really biased against these cards. I really like them because I love the Cosme that does the same thing, and Bang Dream, the red one from Girls Band Party. And I just think this is even better because it's pay 2, like literally costless, flip a card face down. You can run into issues where if you're trying to play a bunch of them, you'll have to flip cards face down, but you have the Jean to sort of help you modulate even more. Like, that's Apocrypha's biggest strength at level 3 is like the insane level of cost-effective damage manipulation you have at the end game, and they get big and wall up on your opponent's turn. So if things go poorly, even if you try to set things up perfectly, you have like a big wall that your opponent that will have more trouble contesting, swinging into it. That's it for level 3s. Going right into climaxes here. Like we said before, 4 book, 4 gate. And yeah, that's basically it. Anything else we want to touch on with the list?
I think it's a good point to bring up, but how hard is it to... Because if you're flipping cards down in your level the whole time, you're losing color identity.
You're not.
So how mindful do you have to be to like keep your color identity?
In my experience playing against Paul, with this board, it is literally, with this back row, it has literally never been an issue even once at any point. Like, the cost, and that's another big reason that I think Apocrypha is super underrated. When we were talking in our tier list video, Bushi overvalues the flip a card. They value it as much as a stock, which is like ridiculous to me because in practice it's nothing.
The whole game I'm constantly dropping these.
Yeah,
and flipping.
Like,
the whole game. If you play me again with that, that's all I do.
The one thing I didn't like about Apocrypha is I wish they had more synergy with the flip cards. Like, I wish they had like 1 or 2 more good flip effects. Because it's really only the Archer and the Clarent.
Like, cards like this are kind of unfortunate in that regard, right? Because I wish that
could have a
some of these flip... I feel like some of these non-climax related cards could have more like flip effects. Because I feel like even though this is amazing and a key part of your game plan, I wish more cards like at the end game had, other than Clarent, had those kind of abilities.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
It's still like I said, it's undercosted. Like, the fact that they think that flipping a card face down with this card in the set is equivalent to paying a stock is absurd.
Usually what I do is I have 2 blues and 1 red. So you could flip. You just keep 2 blues because you're mainly using blue.
Yeah, the deck is primarily blue until level 3.
Level 3 is the only time you need red. So you put 2 blues in, and you have 1 red. And there you'd be surprised, as long as you have this, what you get by throwing this away. Like, you constantly cycle it.
Yeah.
It's actually really good at doing what it does, and it compresses really well too.
Yeah. Just the costless filter on Archer of Black is so crazy to me. Combined with, of course, the Clarent finisher.
I really like the Astolfo early play. He gets huge.
Yeah, real big. One thing I wanted to touch on before we wrap, when we're talking about this, why 2 Ricky? Do you think it's like not as good of a profile in the list?
It's not really necessary.
You think so? That on first deck, you think searching is better in your experience?
You have the 3 copies of that Archer to help you.
It doesn't allow
help you salvage.
This doesn't allow you to. You're not gonna get what you need on your first deck. This is more like at level 1 if you're gonna use it.
To get this helps get
Yeah,
you
get
get
it.
into your level 1
Yeah.
combo, but it has to be in your waiting room. It's not a search Ricky.
Yeah.
So you say in the deck, the drop searcher is like more valuable to get into your Astolfo
Plus, it's
faster.
your color fix too.
Yeah, and your color fix for red. Yeah, you're right.
That's why it's there mainly.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this deck tech, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know. Let us know what decks you want to see next. We're trying to get a deck tech out for every set that's in English. So if you have one you want to see next, let us know. Pittsburgh White Schwartz signing off.